Now we review The Adventures of Thumbhead. I mean, Universal Basic Guys, Episode 12, Season 1, Deer Steaks. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen the 12th episode of the first season of Universal Basic Guys, Deer Steaks, which I believe is a take on Dire Steaks, only I don't get the joke. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know, Universal Basic Guys is the story of two brothers, primarily the two brothers, Mark the Thumbhead and Hank, there to eat up screen time. And they used to work at a hot dog factory that has been taken over by robots, so now they don't have a job, but through a pilot program for Universal Basic Income, they get $3,000 a month, and they annoy their neighbors. David, who is very in touch with his feminine side, despite being married, and in this case, I don't recall the character's name, but, fat mafia weirdo. So, yes, before I get any further, let me remind you that for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pot of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you'd be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. Now then, in this we have an A plot and a B plot. The A plot is that Thumbhead has gotten himself a rather almost ridiculous crossbow, and the B plot is that, in touch with his feminine side, has started organic gardening, become a vegetarian, and written a book about it, for which he is going to get some kind of publicity. He'll be on TV or something. Oh yes, and somebody who used to work at the hot dog factory is missing and suspected in the fact that his wife is also missing. Just so you guys know, when people go missing, I mean, I don't expect the people who make this show to know this, but when you're missing, it's not a murder case; it's a missing case. Even the knife with the stuff. Like, even if they find what could be a murder weapon, that doesn't prove anything till you have a body. There was actually a case where a judge ruled that a person could not be considered murdered even though they found his whole arm in, like, a shark. And the judge is like, well, look, he could be walking around with no arm somewhere. He doesn't necessarily need to be dead. So before you can call something a murder case, you do need to actually prove that it's a murder case. This is a cop thing. I don't expect the writers to know that, but it's kind of a thing that got glossed over in the episode. There was never any reason to fully believe the wife had been murdered because they had never found a body, so far as I recall. So that's a thing. Again, this was very cerebral for this particular show because it's like the bow that Thumbhead has. It's this ridiculous 50-shot, super fast crossbow with heat-seeking arrows. And, I mean, they don't make that, obviously, but they do make an 18-shot high-speed crossbow that, it's like, I just saw a demonstration of it today where the guy's like, he holds down the trigger and he pumps the dang thing, and bam, 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 there goes 18 arrows. So, yeah, it's a commentary on how ridiculous bow hunting has become, and I'm all for that, except for the fact that I'm kind of wondering if the regular audience of this show is going to know what that's about. Because it's like, yeah, bow hunting, it's less dangerous than hunting with a gun, so you can do it in places where there are other people. So, less permits and whatever have you. But, should that really be a thing? I don't know. Also, the red cap mushroom, it's like, yeah, I instantly recognize that as a poisonous mushroom because that's what, it's the irony of the extra life mushroom in Mario Brothers is it's a red cap. It'll kill you if you ate one in real life, even though they exist in real life. I get that. I mean, it makes sense. But does the average person watching this show know that? That's kind of a question. It's really cerebral kind of things going on in this episode. I mean, a commentary on bow hunting and that whole juxtaposition of the two mushrooms thing. I mean, the crazy guy, yeah, okay, you kind of just, you watch this and you're like, all right, this is a little on the predictable side. I mean, kind of see what's happening. The characters are as dumb as characters in a horror movie. And then it's like with that mafia friend, like seriously, I get it. In touch with his feminine side, is not really good with confrontation, but then why would he be going? I mean, he's supposed to be smart, right? And look, I have to admit, this show really showcases how much being a writer sucks. And it's like, yes, this guy had this life experience and he turned it into a book. And being a writer, you do that. You come out, here was my life experience. I'm going to turn this into something I can sell. And again, I get that. I totally get that. But in touch with his feminine side, man, his wife has got to be like this close to divorcing him. And I know this is just a cartoon, but I don't know why this stuff is funny. I honestly don't. I have to admit there that, you know, you saw this, it was really predictable. Like, okay, you know, you're foreshadowing this is going to happen, and then this happened. And I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, and look, just to be clear here, I'm a man who's had some venison steaks in my life. I've never gone hunting. I would rather you hunt boar because they're an invasive species where I live. But I mean, you know, hey, makes sense. Makes sense. And I will also admit that whereas this episode didn't absolutely infuriate me like the normal episodes tend to, I do have to say it's like, okay, you're dealing with that character. You know this is a bad idea. How do you not know this is a bad idea? You're listening to the guy that smuggles drugs up his rear end. That is an established fact in this series. Then he gets into a jacuzzi with two other guys. And I mean, like, look, I understand that maybe jacuzzis are fun. I don't think of getting into them with other guys. If there aren't chicks involved, jacuzzi's kind of out of the question for me. That's kind of how the world works. That's just me, though. I mean, man stew, hey, if you're into man stew, you go, you do your man stew. That's just perfectly fine. I'm just not into it. All right, so there you have it. So yeah, look, I am sure that a normal person will find this episode funnier than me, because I don't find anything funny. I'm one of those people. I very rarely laugh. People thought that I was born without the muscles to smile. I'm not kidding you. That's not a joke. I was actually asked if I was born without the muscles to smile several times in my life. So I'm going to grant that I probably am not the best judge of this comedy. But this, it goes in the middle of your watch list to the lower middle of your watch list. It's there. It's not wonderful. It's just there. It is very much there. It is a thing that exists and can be called mildly comedic. But in all reality, it's like, you know, I granted you guys, you only have so much time to make this episode. You got a lot going on. You got to bring it all together. But seriously, you know, this is how comedy normally works. It's like you discuss what's a happy idea, and then the entire rest of the episode you're trying to get that happy idea accomplished, and then, you know, it tends not to work because this is comedy. It's like, yes, I'm going to become a great bow hunter with my primitive bow that has heat-seeking missiles in it for some unexplainable reason. Well, I mean, yeah, that's not why you would use that bow. You use that bow because you can shoot it in a resident or a not-so-residential area, but in an area where there are people camping, and not bother them, and hopefully not put an arrow through somebody, because they don't fly as far as bullets. So that's a thing. And, I mean, I understand it, and I understand that Mark Hoagie's, the thumbhead, does not understand it, but I just, not sure everybody would be getting the joke. So, yeah, look, it's entertaining enough. I mean, this show has been picked up for another season, so somebody is enjoying this. This is not the worst episode. It didn't make me want to turn off the computer and rage quit. It was there. It was passable. All right. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. I'm Richard.
Greetings, humanity. I'm Randall the Rat, and I'm here to remind you that, well, you should probably comment, like, and subscribe now. And why? Well, the world isn't all that great, and Random Street Theater here is trying to change it. We do things like have trash removed from the ocean, pay for trees to be planted, and even feed orphans. And you can help. You can comment, like, and subscribe. And it's free. When you think about it, if you don't do those things, well, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't care about the ocean and trees and even orphans? Well, sounds like you're a bad human. And you have a delicious face.